Hi there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you all enjoyed the previous counterpart episode to this one on the APM PMQ route to accreditation. This episode will continue from that, but today we'll be talking about the RICS route to accreditation. There are, like the APM, a number of routes you can take. These again will be centred around qualifications and experience. There are also different levels to accreditation: ASOC RICS, MRICS and FRICS. This video assumes that you have an RICS accredited degree. You will also need 2 years experience as a PM to pursue the accreditation of MRICS through the method I will describe in this video. Important to understand the difference between the APM test and the RICS test. The RICS test is a 1 hour long interview where you're questioned on your summary experience and your case study. The summary experience is based on levels 1, 2 and 3 on each topic, and what this means is 1 is knowledge, 2 is doing it in practice, and 3 is advising on the topic. This is why the RICS is much harder to pass, as you actually have to have experience to back up your knowledge. The current pathway, akin to the APM body of knowledge, although with less detail, looks like this. It is made up of mandatory, core and optional competencies. The mandatory ones are relevant to any pathway you choose, regardless if this is project management. The core ones are the core project management competencies that you have to complete to all the required levels. And the optional, you pick 1 from the list to level 2, and a final one from the core/optional to level 2, or 3 if the core is level 2 already. I won't go through what's involved in each of these, but I will leave a link in the description to the pathway guide where I pulled this from and recommend you go read this. In future videos, I'll be doing deep dives into each topic about what you need to know and what you need to have done to be able to pass. So the first thing you need to consider is your case study. As well as knowing your competencies inside out, you must submit a case study, which is 3,500 words. The case study is based on a challenge or problem that you faced as a project manager and how you dealt with it or solved it. Part of your final assessment will be focused on the case study, and if you want to look up some case studies, there are a number free online if you just search it on Google. I would also suggest speaking to people in your firm that are MRICS. They'll no doubt be happy to share theirs with you. One challenge you might find with the case study is you might find it hard to get the experience early in your career to lead projects or be responsible for key parts of them to inform your case study. One tip I can give is that it's essential that you keep the heat on and drive your APC yourself rather than relying on anyone else. I suggest you constantly are demanding your line manager and team leader for the exposure to projects that will inform your case study. So the next thing you need to prepare is your diary. You must also submit a diary quantifying hours you've spent on each competency. This requires uploading descriptions of what you did to the Assessment Resource Centre. The Assessment Resource Centre is an online platform provided by the RICS to submit your APC, which I think it came around a few years ago. It's important to understand that your diary must cover at least 2 years of your experience as a project manager, your most recent 2 years. Now, another tip I can give here is that it's extremely time consuming to do in retrospect. So I haven't done my diary, and I wish I had kept a diary every single day when I first started work, as I'd have a lot less to do to prepare for my APC now. Essentially what I'm doing now is going through my old calendars and emails, trying to figure out what I did on, say, July 15th, 2018. To inform my diary for the APC. Okay, so third thing you need to consider is your summary of experience. Your summary of experience is a document that outlines what you know and what you've done on each topic in the project management pathway. You have 1,500 words for the mandatory competencies, and you have 4,000 for the technical competencies, technical meaning core and optional. This works out to be about 150 words per level per competency. There are a couple of other requirements you also need. One of these is that you must have attended 96 hours of continual professional development over the last 24 months. And what that means is structured training, formal training, informal reading on subjects in the project management pathway. CPD comes in 2 formats, formal and informal. An example of formal CPD would be a data management training session that you've attended. And then an example of informal CPD would be reading about health and safety legislation in your own time. Both count, but they're just differentiated. So it's important to keep a record of the time you spent doing CPD over the last 2 years also. Finally, you must undertake and pass the ethics test prior to going to final assessment. Although you might have seen that it's included in the pathway guide, it's something you have to do separately before you can go on and do the final assessment. The final assessment is a 1 hour face-to-face interview with a panel of 3 experts from the construction industry and between them they probably have about 100 years experience, and they will test you intensely on the competencies in your case study. The purpose of the test really comes down to, are you a trustworthy project manager? Are you a safe pair of hands to go out in the industry and run construction projects, or even set up your own RICS regulated firm? In terms of general tips for the final assessment, I can't really give you any because I haven't done it myself, but when I do go through it, I want to dedicate a video to my tips on that. Be sure to stay tuned for this, and of course the deep dives into each of the topics in future videos. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I really look forward to any feedback you have, and if you have any comments, please leave them down below, as I'll be reading all of them and no doubt I'll learn something. Thanks for watching. Consider giving this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribing if you would like to see more.